Alrighty, let's see what we've got today. Alchemy and Allies. Alphabetically, the first two expansions. So for draw, there's Highwayman, Capital City if you only use the second effect but not the first. So for example, if you played two skirmishers followed by a capital city, those two cards, or those three cards together, would be as much draw as two laboratories. You'd also get a village effect out of it and potentially an attack. Alchemist is draw. In the townsfolk pile, blacksmith is draw. I'm just now noticing band of nomads. Potentially that could be draw. How are you getting the favors? Yeah, so underling generates favors, then you could play a carpenter and take plus card or something. You can only spend one favor per card gained, so you couldn't bank up 100 favors and then gain a silver and draw your deck. But a decent number of ways to draw cards. For villages, capital city, contract, band of nomads again. I think that's it. No trashing until a pile empties, and then carpenter turns into a remodel. And remodel, pretty good at trashing estates, but not so hot at dealing with coppers or curses for that matter. I wonder if familiar is playable here. Plus buy. Ooh, plus buy is also pretty lacking. There's no way to buy more than one thing a turn aside from the underling favors. I think underling is going to look pretty versatile here. You buy something costing 3 or more, you trigger Band of Nomads, you can buy a second thing. There is Carpenter for gains. It gains cheap stuff early and then remodel stuff later. Okay. Hmm. To my mind, big question as to whether to go for Curse. Familiar is generally pretty bad, but there's no trashing here, so it could be annoying. As an example, imagine buying Potion turn 1, burning the one starting favor to draw one card immediately, and you draw one of those top 5 cards off the top of your deck. That means you're also next turn going to draw one of the 4 coppers, estate, potion, plus whatever you drew in that hand, and then pretty likely have a hand with potion plus 3 or 4 coppers turn 3, which would give you a pretty good chance of hitting 3 in a potion. The big danger with opening potion with cards that give you or cost 3 in a potion. Actually, it's just all of the cards that cost 3 in a potion in the game in the same kingdom. Anyways, the big danger is if you open potion and you hit 2 in a potion, you're really sad because you just bought a useless card that junked up your deck. I don't know. The potion opening seems pretty straightforward. Yeah, I think it's either potion, go for a familiar early and then use it to buy alchemists later, or just like silvers with intent to get an early highwayman and go from there. And that doesn't seem fast enough to make me want to skip out on trashing and deal with 10 curses. It's not entirely obvious, but I think some cursing is going to be worth it. Okay, as it turns out, potion was the one card I drew off the top, and I hit 3 in a potion turn 2. This is actually quite dangerous because it was more likely than not that I drew a copper off the top, and then if I drew the potion, I would have 2 in a potion in this hand. I was really wanting potion to be in the turn 3 hand. As it turns out, I drew the estate, potion replaced estate, and I hit 3 in a potion anyway. Worst case scenario, I think, would be potion being the bottom card out of the 7, and then not seeing it till turn 4 in a random hand. Okay, I think I'll just take an underling now. And I think one carpenter looks good. In the short term, it gains underlings. Once underling is empty, it can do the remodel stuff. Can I draw 2 coppers, pretty please? 1 down, 1 to go. Okay. I think I want one more familiar. And then after this, probably alchemists. The bot took a potion and hit 2 in a potion. My condolences, hard bot. I do think I should be favored here. Now the tricky part is going to be getting to 5 money. Yeah, Highwayman looks good. I don't have a deck that is all too great at hitting 5 as of yet. I probably need to take at least 1 silver just to make that happen. Or maybe just a Town Crier. I don't have any terminal action cards on my deck. Town Crier is a card that can be silver if I want it to be. It can be a cantrip when I don't need it to be. Maybe that's the path to... Or actually, I'll take an Underling, and then I'm getting attacked by Highwayman. And so that first copper is going to do nothing. I'll buy the Town Crier with my buy. Alchemist now. Yeah, unfortunately, this is just the sort of games that Familiar can evoke. It's not going to be... I'm going to be cursing the bot a bunch. It's already got 4 curses in its deck. I've built a deck that is not very capable of getting off the ground either, because the Familiar is just like a blank cantrip. The potion is actively bad for getting to 5. So I'm going to be wheel spinning for a little while here. I mean, I think probably one of these early underlings should have been the Town Crier sooner. I'll take plus card here. Well, that was not good. Ooh, that is a bizarre province. At least I am hitting 5. Can I afford to cantrip this? I'm not under the Highwayman attack. I'm pretty sure these bottom 2 cards are Copper, and is it my other Familiar? I think that's Copper and Familiar. For sure, I've seen a potion in all 3 of my estates, so I think there's no risk that this doesn't hit 5. Unfortunately, the Familiar was on the bottom, but even so, I still got 1 card further through my deck. All right, let's add Highwayman now. Duchy. Fascinating. So what's the plan here? Underling is empty. Curse is gonna be empty. Gonna have to watch out for the bot. Maybe, I don't know, bum rushing estates or something. Sure does not look like the bot is playing for the long term. Oh, Philosopher's Stone. When did that happen? Honestly, kind of forgot this was in the kingdom. Okay, so the bot's deck is full of curses, so whenever it finds one of its 2 Philosopher's Stones, it's probably going to hit Province. But it's only got the 2 of them and not really much sifting. Intriguing. Alright, found an estate. I think I just want to cantrip this. I've hit 5. I could trigger this. I don't think it benefits me enough. I think I prefer Capital City over another Alchemist. That's not clear. Hmm. Take a Capital City. About buying coppers. Okay, let's go ahead and gain another Miller. Take actions, Highwayman, and buys. Yeah, so I got until the estate pile runs out, but I don't have a huge points deficit to overcome because I do have the natural points advantage that the curses are providing. Yeah. This is actually a tough choice. Carpenter is probably the card I value the most in the abstract, but the card I'd most want to remodel is that estate that I can't pick up. So maybe just take the potion to guarantee that I can top deck the alchemist again if I find that. Really sure. Or the underling to maximize the chance I get back around to the highwayman. That might make the most sense. No problem triggering this because Miller's going to get me to the end of the shuffle. Okay. Yeah, I think I take the potion here, play Highwayman, Town Crier for coins, and rotate, I think. And I'll buy an Alchemist, trigger Banded Nomads, plus buy, and the second $5 card. Does the Skirmisher attack matter at all? I think the answer is probably not. Like, it would not be that hard for me to discard attack the bot each turn, but I kind of suspect that whether the bot hits province just hinges entirely on does it find one of its 2 Philosopher's Stones. I mean, maybe there's a scenario where there's only got the one Carpenter. Like from a 3 card hand, it's probably unlikely to be able to do Carpenter, crash something, gain an estate, buy a second estate. Because I'd like to stop it from taking estates 2 at a time if I could. I'm not sure if that matters enough. The Highwayman attack probably is going to matter. I think I just prefer taking an Elder. Why can't I see the turn? Where's the bot's turn? So it would have had 4, and having 3 didn't make much of a difference. Oh, I should think about remodeling the familiars. They're no longer particularly useful. Gain a silver, plus 1 card, plus 1 action. Take cards here. Let's just draw and not discard. Remodel the estate into a second Carpenter. I'll take actions. So I can play the Carpenter and also the Highwayman. Okay. I want to make sure I find the Highwayman. I would remodel the Familiar, but that doesn't guarantee it. This order does guarantee it because if I draw the silver but not the Highwayman, I can always just take plus cards here. Let's just take one more Town Crier? Town Crier, Elder, I mean. Could be another Elder, could be another Capital City. Contract isn't doing anything. I already got more favors than I could possibly need. I think it's one another Elder. Cards, Highwayman, Alchemist, plus buy, Ender. Not much of a turn happening over there. The bot can't even manage to get the estates. It feels like I've got at least 2 to 3 more turns before the bot can successfully empty the estates. Even if on a good turn it can do 2 at a time. And that should be more than enough to do 2 provinces here whenever I feel like it. These underlings could also be trashed now. I've got a million favors banked up. You can only spend 1 per card you gain. And silver, plus 1 card. Plus 1 card. You know what? I should have checked earlier, but there's nothing else that synergizes with Elder, is there? No, I don't think so. Elder works on both Blacksmith and Town Crier, which are always in the same kingdom. And it's worth looking out for other stuff that says choose, but there's nothing else here that it would work with. Okay. Let's draw some cards. And what else am I doing? These estates or these copies are just never getting trashed because I don't want to lower the estates at all. I guess I can trash an underling and gain a capital city. What else? I think I want to have 8 money again for an Alchemist and another 5, and I want to play the Highwayman, so I could trash the silver, just not play the second Carpenter, and play the Highwayman. Alternatively, I could trash the silver, take actions, Carpenter the potion into a gold, play the Highwayman, and just buy a province. That seems alright too. I could trash the Carpenter, then I have 10 money. And a potion left over. That's not really any better than 8. I'm just going to take another Elder. I really like the idea of lowering the Elders, because then next turn I could trash Coppers into Town Criers. Maybe that's not enough money enough to draw with. Do I have 2 capital cities? I've got the 1 capital city. I'm just going to do this. Actions. Oopsie. Thank goodness that Alchemist was there to give me a chance to undo. I meant to say buys. There we go. I feel like that might be a mistake. Probably the hard bot's just lost anyway. But I would think the hard bot's best win con here is just emptying the estates as fast as possible. And I think you might be willing to forego 2 points just to gain an estate over a duchy. Because you're not emptying 7 duchies before the game ends, for sure. Okay, take a Town Crier. Gain a silver, plus 1 card. Plus 1 card. Don't rotate. Okay. Well, this isn't over yet. I know I've got a second Miller. Did I skip over it with the first Miller, or is it in the bottom 2? It's coming up. So let's... The trouble is, Town Crier does not cost 3 or more. So if I went ahead with my plan of remodeling Coppers into Town Criers, I would end up not being able to take additional cards. So let's gain a capital city. Okay, yeah, here we go. This should be fine. Get the other capital city. Trash a copper into a Town Crier. Oh, can I draw back around to that? I can. Gain silver, plus 1 card, plus 1 action. And what do I want here? Cards again? I'm going to get actions anyway. So I don't necessarily need that. I think I'm still going to take actions. Decline. Just going to cycle here. I don't need the draw. That's annoying. The Town Crier was on the bottom. That was the 1 card I wanted to make sure I found. If I find the Town Crier, I draw everything anyway. Alas. Okay. 1 more 5-cost card. Could just take a province now. I really don't see the rush. Another capital city. Yeah, I trashed the potion, which means I can't top deck the alchemists. Nonetheless, managed to find 2 on top anyway. Okay. Two cards, card and an action. Draw 2. Gain a silver, card and an action. Take cards again. Guess I'll rotate. I don't need more Millers. With all the capital cities, my deck should be plenty reliable as is. Silver. Cards again. What else are we doing? Silver, card and an action. I guess I can go ahead and discard attack the bot. I mean, 2 skirmishers is light, adding some labs to the deck because it's more money that my capital cities can convert into draw. So I don't mind taking Skirmisher or something. Grade the familiar into a new attack. Now I want to make sure I have found that Skirmisher before I gain the second one, so the attack triggers. What did you just do? I was just about to comment that the attack is super unlikely to matter because given the bot's deck, it's surely going to have two drunk cards in hand anyway, like a Curse and an Estate or something. And it managed to discard an Underling. I would have thought even a Copper would be a successful discard at this stage. Let's just take actions again. I think I'm going to need some more Carpenters now. Cards. Taking another Carpenter. Do I need cards right now? Not really. Do I need actions? Also not particularly. Just shoot for winning in 2 turns, I suppose. I'll take the buys now. I want to lower Carpenter too much. 3 is probably safe. The bot has a bunch of favors. Maybe 3 isn't safe. Like, what if the bot plays a Philosopher's Stone and has a bunch of money, and then buys out the Carpenters with like 12 coins? That would be a risk. Because it can't trigger the favors off of the estate buys, but it could trigger the favors off of the Carpenter buys. So lowering Carpenters more actually probably is dangerous, huh? Let's just get another Highwayman then and put that into play. Already got 2 buys. Province. I guess I can just win this turn then. The thing I'm most worried about is Highwayman into Philosopher's Stone somehow hit 16 or something and then empties the Carpenters. If I am too lackadaisical here. Draw the deck. Okay, probably most useful location of these Carpenters is just gonna be trash up into golds and then up into province. Province, take plus card. Eyes now. More buys. Yeah, I don't know what Harbaugh was thinking there. I can't say I expect the Philosopher's Stone deck to be the most competitive thing ever. Uh, I mean, maybe that was a reaction. I guess, yeah, in Hardbot's defense, that might have actually been the most sensible thing given the circumstances. Because what I believe happened was we both went for potion early, and then Hardbot hit the two in a potion draw, which is just a disaster and the big risk of opening with potion. And maybe the calculation there is I'm just going to be so far behind on curses if I try to mirror the familiar strategy. Might as well just accept that I'm getting all the curses and build the deck that does best with nothing going on. But yeah, that's just it's so hard to win. The problem is like when you're trying to rush something down, there's no way that deck is getting 8 provinces anytime soon. Because you got to find the Philosopher's Stones, and there's only like two in your deck of a million cards. And it's also not very good at emptying estates or duchies or anything either. So there's no clock on the game. I didn't feel any urgency. Uh, I I would not rule out skipping familiar intentionally and just trying to take the fives, but I think what that deck would look like would just be accepting that you're gonna have a bunch of curses in your deck and sift past them with Capital City and maybe Miller to a degree, and try to play around having a deck full of curses with the upside of getting to the fives much faster, as was apparent here. My deck did not have much ability to hit five even while I was cursing the bot. I think probably I should have added a Town Crier a little bit sooner. And I think I jumped the gun on the underlings because they looked really useful, and I don't think they were very helpful early on. And so probably like the first underling should have been a Town Crier, and that might have gotten me to five quicker. And then a Capital City or a Highwayman is going to get you back to five, and then you're good to go from there.